Janat, go ahead. Ask a question.
Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. So my question is, we are talking about Rohingya issue. So is it very similar to Sri Lankan Tamilian issue? Is it?
Who will take on
My
this?
first question is this.
Okay. Next one.
Is it similar?
Okay, Aditya ji, can you take on this question, please?
Yes, am I audible, sir?
Yeah, of course you are. Please go ahead.
Yes, you are, sir.
Yes. See, there is no similarity between the Tamil issue of Sri Lanka and the Rohingya issue in Jammu or elsewhere in India. See,
No, sir, I'm talking about Rohingya issue with Myanmar.
Yes. So first we have to understand the Rohingyas come from a part today in Myanmar, which was actually not part of Myanmar in the ancient past. It used to, it could have actually been a state of northeastern India rather than a part of Myanmar and therefore a part of Southeast Asia because it had such close cultural relations with Chittagong. But the evolution of the Rohingya Muslim is related to laborers being brought over from Eastern Bengal, and at that time there was a Sultan Shahi in Eastern Bengal and the East India Company had arrived. In fact, Roman Catholic Jesuit priests had also arrived over there and they converted a few Arakanese princes. The Buddhist kings of Arakan used to carry Muslim titles, so this is the background. Now they had wanted to join Pakistan, but for some reason Jinnah did not want them to join the project of East Pakistan. So the part of East Bengal, which is today's Bangladesh, was very cautious about not allowing the Rohingyas to become part of the East Pakistan area because they felt they would be internally flooded. So they too are worried because these people are known to produce more children and that becomes a burden on the governing state. Now their settlement in areas like Bhopal or Hyderabad or maybe even Mumbai, there are some of them in Mumbai, they are being caught occasionally, and in Jammu is because their demography should increase. They are not required in Kashmir Valley because that is already fully Islamized. So this is the plan of takeover. So that is not the intent. See, the issue between Sri Lankan Tamils and Sri Lankans otherwise was not a religious issue, though superficially one was Hindu and one was Buddhist, but there was no religious persecution over there. This point had been discussed when the CAA was brought in, whether Sri Lankan should be brought in, because this CAA bill had been supported by Tamil party AIADMK. So that is not the thing. If you're talking of Tamil Hindus being persecuted, it is not on the religious reason, it was on ethnic reason, language reason. They are persecuted religiously in Malaysia. That is a different field altogether. So there is no collaterality between these two. The problem is when we talk of Arakan, Arakan I always say should have been a part of Northeast India. But now it has this problem, who wants to import a problem? But slightly north of it, we have the Kabo Valley, which Manipuris always claim, Maithei Manipuris claim as part of their territory. And if you take the same geological ridge, that geological ridge continues to become the Coco Islands further. The Coco Islands are perfectly north of Andaman and Nicobar. So when British Burma and British India were together British India and Burma was part of India, everything was one British India. But after British Burma was separated from British India sometime after 1935 or 1937, what then happened is, which part should be the division? What should be the dividing line between British India and British Burma? That became a matter of contention. So the Maithai Manipuris wanted Kabo Valley of what is today's Burma to get included in Manipur state, which would have then come to India. That did not happen. Coco Islands went to Burma when they were north of Andaman. When Andaman and Nicobar were in the same line, they were kept in British India. But Coco Islands in the north were allowed to be in British Burma. After they were in British Burma, there was a negotiation, I think, between Nehru and whoever was the head of state of Burma at that time. But Nehru's discussions did not fructify into getting these provinces into India. So other than the northern Kabo Valley, the middle coastal Rakhine province of Rohingyas and the southern Coco Islands, we have lost out on all these three territories, and Coco Islands are now handed over by Burma to China, from where in the time of Atal Bihari Vajpayee and George Fernandez, they have a naval surveillance unit by China, where they keep watch on the Indian Navy. So this is the greater issue of the Bay of Bengal region. Sitwe is the capital of Rakhine State. It is a port, and we want to build our infrastructure over there. And Chattagram or Chittagong, together with Tripura and Arakan, have had internal battles amongst each other across history. Today, Tripura is part of India, Chittagong is part of Bangladesh, and Arakan is part of Myanmar. When Arakan was a Buddhist state, they had been Buddhist in the lifetime of the Buddha himself, whereas Burma became Buddhist much, much later. So the Arakanis have always identified with India, but they have been supplanted and they have been displaced by the immigrants who came in, who were the Bengali speaking Muslims brought in by the East India Company. So Arakan itself is a case where immigration by the Bengali speaking Muslim from Chattogram has overwhelmed the local Arakanese population. After that, they are feared by Bangladesh because they would be internally flooded. Even Bangladesh remains a small country with meager resources. So only for the sake of the purpose of Islamic demography increase are they taken into India legally, illegally, and on humanitarian grounds, and they start living around. And what happens is if they are going to come over on humanitarian grounds, they also produce more children. And they have more wives, they produce more children. Is it not a strain on our resources? If they all were to become voters of our country when they were not even part of India in partition times and pre-partition times, if they become a part of Indian demography and they start voting, it is going to affect our national politics. And as far as Jammu is concerned, Jammu has never got to forget that one of the earliest militant organizations was Jammu Kashmir Liberation Front, JKLF. Why did they include J Jammu in it? Because they want to take Jammu. So Jammu people have this as their last stand. This is their last stand. They have to maintain that Jammu should remain for Jammuites. We are not against any Indian Muslim who lives here, but everyone has to follow the rule of law. And as far as the Indian state is concerned, the Indian state as a deep state is intrinsically anti-Hindu in so many of its articles. So that's a civilizational battle. When we talk of CAA, we talk of those who are non-Muslims in Muslim-ruled neighboring countries who are persecuted because the majority is Muslim. Nobody is saying anything to the Indian Muslims who are already resident and domiciled with their fundamental rights in the country of India. That is not what anybody has said. So that should never be a factor. But what happens is when there are Muslims from other countries, then pan-Islamism comes into play. Then where will Hindus go? See, our country was much larger. We have lost Afghanistan. We have lost Kailas Manasarovar. Where will we shrink and where will we go? And what is happening is because they are Bengali speakers, they are overwhelming West Bengal. Where will the West Bengal Hindu go? So we have to see internal displacement of Hindus will start happening. This is not to be allowed. The deep state, the intrinsic deep state of our country is not in favor of Hindus as a civilization. They do not see civilizational continuity. They say India was created on the map when the British left. And to substantiate it, they say Pakistan has its Independence Day, so-called Independence Day, one day before. So if they celebrate their independence day on 14th August, we celebrate it on the 15th August. So we say everything that is eventually left behind as a mask becomes the Republic of India. We therefore cut our own relations with the civilization of India. We cannot cut our own relation with the civilization of India. The civilization of India has to continue through us, and there has to be some state mechanism to protect it, which is not sufficient. And therefore the state becomes so neutral, it becomes so tacitly observant that it doesn't even intervene.
Please like and subscribe.